How are you all doing this evening?
We good. We well. Maybe you.
Very good.
We are fine.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So first of all, before we get started with anything, I'd like to thank you all for joining the session on at the tail end of what I'm sure was for some of you a long Monday. Special shout out to Lydia, Vincent, I believe Steve, and one other person whose name I couldn't quite catch, who joined precisely on time. I appreciate that. I think they even joined earlier than me because I started the meeting and immediately, just like that, they were there. So that's very good. Thank you so much. Special and thanks to all of you. Either whatever time you've joined, it is 6:15. That's pretty decent, a pretty decent time to start. And I'm glad you're all here. Okay, so before we get into the business of the day, I would like to give another shout out also to Amos if he's here, as well as somebody called Williams. At least that's the name they go by on Instagram. Thank you for following the social media, the YouTube, the IG. I appreciate that. We're really trying to grow a bit of a following here, and even that first person that you now have one follower notification is quite encouraging, so thank you for that. Okay, with that said, let's get into the business of the day. So before we present anything, before we start writing anything, as will always be the case in any of these sessions that we do, we want to start with a recap of what we discussed. And of course today's will be the easiest because last time all we were doing was an introduction, and the only take home, the only technical take home, if I may say that, was I wanted you guys to have the tools you would need to write code. I gave you quite a number of options, and the task was just to have one of them ready. So my option was Jupyter Notebooks. That's the IDE that I chose on which I could write from where I would write my Python code, and you guys had all the other options to choose from. So let's just hear from you, and I'll just randomly pick people out of the group. Vincent, please unmute and say hello.
Hello.
Which IDE will you be using to write your Python code in these classes of ours?
Okay, I prefer the Google Colab.
Collab.
Yes.
Very good. Let's take a few more. Mark William, the one who just joined right now. Mark, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Were you with us in the Saturday session?
Unfortunately, I wasn't.
I see. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll see how to work around that. Who else was with us? Let's see if my memory can serve. I'm going to just check the list. Samuel Waweru, were you with us in the Saturday session?
No, I was not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve Mbugwa, were you with us that day?
Yes, I was.
Excellent. What IDE will you be using?
Sorry?
Which IDE will you be using to write your Python code?
I've downloaded the Anaconda.
That's excellent. Okay, I hope everybody, for those who are with us, with us on the Saturday session, I hope everybody has some IDEs installed that they will be using to write their code. If that is true, just stay muted for now. But if it is not the case, please let me know right now so that we do not leave you behind. Is there anyone who does not have a place where they can write their code? An IDE where they can write their code, that is.
Yeah. I wasn't there in the session, so I clearly have no idea what even that is.
So we have Daniela and we have Brazil, and then of course I'll assume. Okay, Brazil, you can go ahead and mute just now. Thank you. Okay, so Brazil, Daniela, and a few others who weren't with us fall under that group. Fine. Here's what I'll do. So this next 5 minutes is just for you guys. I'm going to present my screen. Let's kill these for now. Okay, so I assume everybody has a Gmail account. Of course you must if you have joined this class. That's the only way you could. So here's what you do. If you don't have an IDE downloaded and installed, simply come to a tab and Google Collab, like so, and press enter. And then it should be the first link, collab.research.google.com. Right click and click open in new tab. Alright, it will give you a screen like this, and if you see the pop-up, you can simply go ahead and click new notebook. Even if you don't see the pop-up, if you cancel this, you can still come to file and click new notebook, like so. There we go. So what this gives you is a notebook where you can write your code and get some results. So for example, if I wrote print and some numbers, and then I click this play button on the left side, and it gives you your result. So in this case I just printed out something. The drawback is of course that this is over the network, so it will be a bit slower. So it's good for now, but keep that in mind that it will be a bit slower. Alright. Second, if you are part of the guys who decided to go with Anaconda Prompt, simply press this. I'm sure you're ready now to do this, but just in case you don't, go to your start menu, type Anaconda. It should come up even before you finish writing it. You want Anaconda Prompt. You could use this as navigator, but I prefer to use the prompt. Just habit, really. There's no one correct way. So click that and then type Jupyter Notebook and press enter. And that should open a tab once again in your browser. This is a file explorer, so wherever you want to do your work, for example, I'll choose desktop. I'll click this, and I believe I made a folder. I suppose not. Let me make a new folder. Make a new folder and call it okay, let's go to it. Code Mentor. Okay, so Code Mentor, and then when I'm here inside this folder that I want to use, I'll simply click new and click Python 3. And then here I can type print. Well, okay, here's my Jupyter Notebook. Here are my cells. I can type print whatever I want, and then you click this to run it, but you can also click Control and enter, and there's my result. Okay, so those are the two options. You have this one, and you Google Collab, and you have this one, the Jupyter Notebook. So take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. It's 6:24 right now. Take till 6:29 exactly. Make sure you have one of those open. One thing to note, Jupyter spelled with a Y, Jupyter Notebook. So have one of those opened, and then we can discuss what happens next.
Excuse me, Mr. Muganda.
Yes.
I have opened mine.
Yes.
That is the Google Collab.
Mm-hmm.
But it is telling me that type error. So I don't know if there is a particular maybe terms or other words that we are supposed to use.
Please present your
Because
screen.
yes.
Please present your screen. I'm going to stop presenting.
Let me present mine. All right. Are you able to see?
Not yet. Let's give it a second. It sometimes takes a while.
Okay.
Just try, if you're presenting now, Vincent, just kill it, stop presenting, and then present again.
Okay.
Yes, my friend. How are you? Niambie.
Now it's not presenting because the option of sharing is not clickable
do you know the
from
name
my
of the
end. I
report?
don't know why.
Oh, you only have one report. Ah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll go check which reports are there. Oh, okay. So you want some watching the, and they want all the data. Cool. So what?
Is the problem from my end or yours?
I wonder. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But what we can do, it's a bit tedious, but just send a screenshot. Print screen, put it in the chats. Wait, does the chats allow images? I don't know.
It does not.
So you're saying what happens when you click present screen?
When I click on the present screen, the button that is the button of sharing.
Yeah.
There is two buttons: share and cancel. So I'm unable to click on share. I don't know if at all you have to allow me from your end because you are the admin.
That's the thing. I'd already allowed it. I allowed everyone to share. Anyway, fine. Let's see if I can describe. If we can fix the error just by description. We still have a full minute before 6:29. So you're saying you've opened which one?
I opened the Google Collab, or I can just screenshot my PC and then share on the WhatsApp.
Fine, that's fine. Yeah,
so
DM.
that you can, yeah,
direct message me. That's
so that
totally
you
fine.
can see.
Meanwhile, as Vincent is doing that, the rest of us, do we have our IDE open, whether it's Google Collab or Jupyter Notebook or whichever you've chosen? If anyone is having trouble, you can unmute and let me know.
Hello, Muganda. Good evening.
Hello, Lydia. Welcome.
Thank you. Could you please, could you just, I went somewhere. Could you just take us through that Collab? I didn't get that. I didn't get that step so that I see whether my screen is actually the screen that you asked us to get. Please.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have already shared the problem, so you can confirm.
You're in the right place, Vincent. You've done it correctly. I'll let you know what's happening later, but you're in the right place.
Okay.
Okay, so for my Google Collab friends, what we did was we just typed Google Collab into a tab like so, and it should be the first link that you see, Google Collab. You click it, and it takes you here. So if you see this pop up, you can click new notebook here at the bottom. But even if you don't see it, even if it wasn't there, I'm going to cancel
Thanks.
it.
Seen it. So I open new notebook and then I leave it there. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Got the steps.
So
Thank you.
you can click new notebook, but
Let
even
me ask a question.
certainly, one moment though, if you don't see that pop up, just click file and new notebook, and that will also work. Okay, who was that asking a question? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question. Somebody wanted to ask a question.
What if, that is, I think, optional for guys who are using Windows. What if you're using Linux?
With Linux, the same options are available. There is Anaconda for... There is Anaconda for Linux. You can find out how to install it, and also this Google Collab. Is my mic on? It is. This Google Collab is a web tool, so you just access it through the browser. It doesn't matter which operating system you have. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Fine. So let's begin now. Let's begin our business of the day. Hopefully everyone has their IDEs open. And what you can do is you can have two screens, so you can minimize like this so that you can see what I'm doing. Once again, I will admit it's a bit tedious, it's a bit of a slower way of doing it, but since you're doing something on the browser, we're limited in our options. So you can have a screen open, and then you can have your IDE open separately like so, just so that you can see what's going on. But really, it shouldn't be too hard to follow along. So now that we've sorted that, let's discuss what we want to do today. So today we want to actually get started with our programming. We've done enough talk about it, we've done enough introduction. Let's actually write some code. So on whichever IDE you've chosen, Google Collab or Anaconda Prompt or PyCharm, whatever it happens to be, even Replit, I'd like you to open it, whatever it is, and simply type what I type. In a brand new cell, simply type print and then put brackets, rounded brackets. So now this is the mistake that you made, Vincent. You're putting a different kind of brackets. You're putting square brackets. In fact, let me see if I can increase the size. Yeah, there we go. It's a bit bigger. Just for the sake of the class, I'll put it back later. So print rounded brackets, put your comma and type hello world. If you're using Google Colab, you'll have a play button here on the side. You can click that. If you're using Anaconda, you can click run at the top, or you can press Control and enter. So I'm gonna click run. I'd like everybody to have hello world. Only anyone who's having trouble seeing hello world can let me know. Let's do that in the next 60 seconds.
Could you please repeat?
Sure, I will repeat. I'm even going to remove everything. I'll cut this out, I'll cut that out. So, whoever that was who asked the question, who asked me to repeat, what's your name?
Daniela.
Daniela, which are you using, Google Colab or Jupyter Notebook?
Google Collab.
Google Colab, alright. Can you see a cell similar to the one I have here?
Yeah.
Okay, so all you're doing is you're typing print, you're putting brackets, then you're putting quotes. It can be double quotes, it can be single quotes, it doesn't matter. And you're typing hello world. Have you done that, Daniela?
Let me do it.
Muganda, when you type hello world, you type hello and then you put a comma and then world.
If you want, it's up to you. You
Oh,
don't
okay.
you don't have to.
Okay.
Daniela, I'm still with you.
Muganda, what about the opening speech marks? You put them.
Yes.
Okay.
Daniela, you there?
Yeah, I've done it.
Okay, good. So once you've written this, you simply type run, you click run or if you're on Collab, you click the run button that's here on the left, and you get that. Daniela, do you have hello world being printed out?
Still printing.
Sorry?
I don't. It's still taking its time. I don't know.
It's taking its time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the drawback with Google Collab. But as you've seen now, you've seen that we have this option, Anaconda. So when you get a chance, Daniela, just download this, alright?
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. But we will still stick with you, though. I want you to tell me when it finally works.
Muganda, may I suggest that you have two screens, because would it be possible to work on the Jupyter and maybe have another one for the what is it called, for the Google, for the Collab, so that we can work concurrently?
They are both the same. They are both the same. These systems are both the same. I'm avoiding using Collab because it's on the network. It's across the network, so it will slow down the call because I'm also hosting the call.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll stick to this Jupyter notebook, but you can be assured it's the exact same as what you'll have on Google Collab. But anyway, since we're talking, Lydia, do you have your hello world being shown?
Mine was a challenge because I'm using what is it called? I'm using a tablet, so it's quite a challenge. I'll have to get a laptop.
Okay, that's fine. For now, you can just watch along.
Mine has worked out.
Who was that who just spoke? That just said it's worked out? Who was that?
That is Vincent.
Vincent. Thank you, Vincent. That's wonderful. And to anyone else, I'm sure there are others for who it's worked out. The rest will just try it whenever they get the chance. But in any case, congratulations. Just with this, you are now a programmer. But let us go now a bit deeper into things. This was just so that we could make sure our tool, whichever tool we're using, is working. Alright, so I'm actually going to cut it. I'll remove this and I'll make a new, let's just have a new cell. Let me see what that looks like here. Close all of these. I'll just open a Google Collab notebook just to see what we have, because I know many people are using this. Okay, so this is Google Collab. I'm just going to show you the controls really briefly, but I'm not going to use it. It takes up too much bandwidth. In any case, you write your code, like print whatever you're printing, or then you can run it with this, as we've said. If you want to, this window, this small thin window that we're writing in, is called a cell. If you'd like to add another one, you can click that and you'll get another one. This allows you to keep pieces of code separate, and you can also add text if you just want to put a message. So you can do all of that. You can add more text, you can add more cells, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to quickly show you just those two things. I'll now close this because I don't want it to soak up too much of my bandwidth. Okay, fine, that's fine. Let me go back now to
Muganda, sorry, on that Collab you were showing us that button to press so that we can see how to generate that code.
It is this button. You see, Lydia, this one on the,
yes.
The left. This is the button you click to generate. I'll click this one just once. As you can see, it's going to take long because it's on the network, as I keep saying.
Okay, got it.
Cool. And then it gives finally hello world, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
so
let me close this. Okay, fine. Now that we've seen that, and now that we've confirmed that our tool, whichever tool we're using, is working, what do we actually want to discuss today? Today we're going to talk about variables. We're going to talk about data types, the categories, and the actual types. And we will talk about the rules. And we'll just have a brief thing about syntax, comments, yeah, those three. So my friends, if we, at the end of this session we know about these three things: syntax, comments, which I can talk to you about in like a minute, variables, the rules of variables, and then data types. If we can talk about those three things and we can all understand, then we have been successful in today's session. Okay? And I believe that is very, very doable for all of us. So let's just start with this. This first point is going to be is just an aside almost. It's a very small thing that we will just bring up really quickly and be done with it. So syntax, or rather I should start with comments. Essentially, whenever you write any code, every single line, don't worry about what it is I'm writing right now, don't even bother copying it. Whenever you're writing code, every single line of code that you write, the individual lines, they are known as statements. You can think of a statement as a single instruction, right? An instruction that you're giving to the computer. Actually, all of programming, whenever you hear programming, all of programming is simply that. Programming is simply giving instructions to a computer. And it's something that we do every single day. When you're watching TV and it's too loud, what do?
You lower the volume.
Very good. You lower the volume. You take the remote and you lower the volume. The TV is a computer, and you've given it what instruction? You've given it the volume down instruction. When you're done using your phone and you want to put it away, what do? You press the button on the side, right? The sleep button. Your phone is a computer, and you've given it the instruction to go to sleep. So programming is the act of giving computers instructions. And as a coder, you're doing the exact same thing. You're giving a computer's instructions, but you're doing it at a lower level, a more direct level. That's all that it is, right? So with that said, you might see that we are all programmers. I think you can agree with me having that definition. We are all programmers. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. And now back to this. Whenever you're writing code, whenever you're making a program, every single line is what? Statement. All right, every single line is a statement. You can think of it as an instruction, and when you click run, or whatever you're using, when you actually make it work, every single line will be considered. So if you make a mistake, you'll get an error, right? However, you are allowed to put what's known as comments. So I'm gonna come here and I'm going to put a hash, and I'm going to write, and then I'll run this. So as you can see, it's running, yeah, but this line gets ignored. So that's what comments are. You put a hash and then you can type anything. So what's the point of having comments? Well, point number one is you want to make notes in your code. You want to tell yourself what exactly you're doing, so that when you come back the next day after you've had a long day of coding, you'll know exactly what you're trying to achieve. Another thing that comments are for is for if you're working in a team, which if you ever become a programmer, many of the things you'll be doing them in teams. Comments are for collaboration. They allow your teammates to know what you're trying to achieve with your code. And whatever else. Another major use of comments, if there's a piece of code that you don't want to run, but you would like to keep it in your page, for example, this print 2 plus 3, which gave me 5, you can comment it out, and when you run it, you can see that last instruction or statement, it wasn't executed, right? So that's very simple. That's just what comments are for. Understood? I'll just take one person saying yes.
So does it mean that for comments, as long as you put a hash, it will not be executed, right?
Very good. Exactly that. Yes. That line won't be executed. Is that understood?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah. Just one person to say yes is enough. Of course, if you don't understand anything, you're welcome to unmute and let me know, and we can go over it until you do. Okay, so just like that, my friends, we're done with this, aren't we? Syntax and comments, 1 down, 2 to go. Great. So I'm gonna get rid of all of this. This was just for an example, or maybe I keep it because I'd like to give you this notebook. So let's keep it. I'll just move to another cell. Remember, if you're using Anaconda, you click this button to give yourself a new cell. You click this scissor button. When you click one, you click the scissor, and it will get rid of that cell, and then you can write new code. Okay, so
does it save automatically, or is it what? Does it save this automatically?
Both Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, and Google Collab will save automatically. You don't have to save for yourself.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm going to put another comment, and I'm going to write variables. So what is a variable? Inside the comment still, I'll just write. And I'm going to put the container in capitals just to show that it's important. A variable is a container for data. All right. Now let's see if I can open up my Paint. So as an IT professional, as a deep computer scientist, rather, if a deep computer scientist were to see this, this would not be a suitable definition, right? They would bring up things like memory locations and indexing and RAM and so on and so forth. But at its simplest, at the very simplest definition, a variable is a container for data. All right. Now let's see if we can illustrate that point. So I have here my Paint open, and I'll need a few helpers from the class. Let's just take this. Okay, so using this clumsy tool, I'm going to draw a cup. Now let's have a few volunteers. Let's start with Vincent. Vincent, what did you have for breakfast today?
Tea
Uh-huh.
and bread, yeah.
Okay, so Vincent this morning he had tea. Okay, so in Vincent's cup this morning was tea. Daniela, what did you have?
Tea and cake.
Sorry?
Tea and cake.
You had tea as well. Okay, what else could you have had, just so that we have something different?
And cake.
No, I'm asking, instead of tea, what else could you have had, just usually among the things you might have for breakfast?
Cereal.
Cereal. Okay, in which case you had, I'm sure you'd have had it with milk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Lydia, how about you? What did you have for breakfast today?
I had porridge.
Porridge, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a different one. Okay, so Lydia had porridge. I had a wonderful glass of strawberry yogurt. All right, so what do we have? We have a cup which Vincent this morning woke up, he picked up, and he put some tea inside it, right? That exact same cup, Daniela could have come, taken it, washed it, and put her milk and drank it. I know she had cereal, but let's just say it was the milk that she was having. Lydia could have come in later, found the same cup, given it a wash, and had her porridge. And when Lydia is done, I could take that exact same cup and drink yogurt from it, right? So we all have our different drinks, right? But what's the same? The container. Exactly, the cups or the containers. A variable is the container, okay? It doesn't matter what's inside it. Or, well, of course it matters when you're building something, but for the sake of the definition and for the sake of programming, it doesn't matter what's inside it. The variable itself is just a container. It's a container, and then you can decide what it will hold. You can decide what to put inside it, and crucially, you can decide to put in something else. So it can have tea, but then later it can have porridge, later it can have yogurt, okay? So that's our definition, and that's our brief illustration. Let's now jump into our code and actually write something. So in Python, the syntax for making a variable is as follows. You put the name, and then you can put an equals and put value. But there's a word there that I've used that you might not recognize. Can somebody tell me what it is? Perhaps somebody had it and they don't know what I mean by it.
Is that what you used?
The word I used was syntax. So let me make another comment. Syntax. What is syntax? Syntax simply means rules. If you ever come across the word syntax during our classes or when you go to do your own research, maybe you're learning something for yourselves, if you ever see the word syntax, you can simply think of rules. Okay? Syntax is the same as rules. So in this case, the rules of programming. But you have syntax in everything, right? So for example, if I was to make a sentence, what should come here at the end? What have I left out? Just a simple English statement.
Full stop.
Exactly, a full stop, right? The syntax in English is to put a full stop after a statement. A statement or a sentence, whatever it happens to be. That same exact logic is what I'm talking about. Syntax is rules. You have it in you have it in everything, but especially we have it in Python, or rather in programming. Okay, so that was just something else that we didn't quite talk about in our first one, but now we've talked about syntax. So back to this. We've just we're talking about variables. We've seen that a variable is a container, very important for data. And now here's the syntax for variables. You give the variable a name, and you say you can put an equal sign, and then you can put the value. So let me give an example. I'm going to say, again, I'll just use name. Name is equals to emo. You guys can go ahead and type that exactly the way I've done it, and then underneath you simply say, for an example, you can say print name. By the way, I did not mention this, but I'm recording the class, so if you would like to just listen and follow along and ask questions, you can do that, and then later you write the code for yourself. But if it's not cumbersome, if it's not a problem for you to actually write the code, also that would be fine. So it's totally up to you. In any case, for those of you, for my friends who are able to write the code, simply write name is equals to whatever your name is, and then you can write print name. Meanwhile, I believe one of our colleagues is actually unmuted. Vincent, I think it's you. Vincent, please mute just for now. If you have a question, of course, go ahead and unmute. Thank you. Great. Okay, so here's our example. We say name is equals to emo, right? And then when we say print name, what do we get? We get emo. So that's our variable. Our variable is name. Our value is emo. Our container is name, and then what it's containing, what it's containing is emo. And we can do many like that. So we can say age is 27. Nation is Kenya. Variable value, container, what it contains. All right, and then I can do whatever I want with it. I can print age, I can print nation and job, and notice that I put them together, although don't worry about that, we'll talk about it later, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then I can also do things with my variables. So for example, I could print how old was I last year? I was 26, obviously, right? Okay, Daniela.
Yes.
I'm just using the names that I remember, so I'll keep on picking on you, I'm afraid. How can I get the year I was born? How, using this variable? What should I print?
Age.
Okay, if I print age, let's get rid of these ones. If I print age, I'll get 27, right? Right,
Yeah.
Daniela? Yes. Okay, now I want to get the year I was born.
You print year.
Okay, fine. So if I print here, let's see what I will get. Print here. This is what happens, Daniela. It's saying name error. Name error. It's saying name year is not defined. If you ever see such a thing, Daniela, name year is not defined. When they say name, they just mean variable. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does this error mean? Name year is not defined. Essentially, it's telling me that there is no variable called year, right? And in fact, if we go through this code of mine, this is all the code, Daniela, we can see that there actually isn't a variable called year, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's fix that. Tell me what to type.
Yeah. Then
Good. Uh-huh.
the year you were born.
Before I type the year I was born, what should I type?
Or equals
Thank you. Equals, and then I type?
the year you were born.
Thank you. Well done. Exactly. And now when I run this, I get 1995, right? So, variable, your equal sign, your value. Container, equal sign, value. And that's it. That's exactly what a variable is. Before we even go into, should actually have put this. So that's the definition. A variable is simply a container for data. Is that understood? Again, 2-3 yeses is enough.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, good. So, a variable is simply a container for data. And now let's see if we can take that concept a little further and learn more.
May I ask something?
Sure, please go ahead.
So this variable, which is the container, it has the name, and name equals value. Those are now the variables, and they are now in that container.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. So it's just a container, and remember, let's go back to this example. You can take the same container, right? You can take the same container and you can put whatever you want in it. So for example, I can take name once again, and I can say is equals to, it's the exact same one, right? It's the exact same container. And when I print name, oops, I forgot to put my second quote. There it is. I get Lydia, right? We took the same container, but we put something different. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So
Got it.
let's quickly discuss the rules.
I was wondering if you have to put the quotes.
Yes, you have to put the quotes, but if you don't put the quotes, what would happen? Let's try something. Who was that who asked the question?
Daniela.
Daniela again. Fine. So let's see what would happen, Daniela, if I didn't put the quotes. I'm going to run this. Then what's it saying? Name Lydia is not defined. Daniela, can you tell me what this error means?
You've left the quotes.
No, that's not what the error means. That it's not telling me that I've left the quotes out. Although that is what I've done wrong. But what does the error mean? Name Lydia is not defined. Anyone else can help her. Danielle, as a hint, I'll do this.
I think it means Lydia in quotes, like Lydia in quote is not defined. We
Lydia
only
in
have
quotes.
Lydia without the quotes.
Which means that what is Python expecting?
The variable to be defined.
Exactly. Well done. Who was that?
Steven.
Steven. That's exactly true. So if you don't put the quotes, Python thinks Lydia is a variable, right? So just as we had that example, let me comment this out just for now. Let me comment this out, and then let's have this removed. Just as the example we had with you, Daniela, we said print year, and we ran that. Where is it coming from now? Alright, let's stop. So if I run this, good. So Daniela, the exact same thing that we did, you and I just now. We said print year, and then it said name year is not defined, right? So then we came here and we said year is equals to that, and then when we ran it, that error went away. So now with this one, we had print name, and it gave me emo, right? And then we changed it. We said name is now equals to Lydia. If I put my quotes, it'll give me Lydia. If I forget my quotes, it'll give me the exact same error. Name Lydia is not defined, meaning it's looking for that variable called Lydia and it's failing to find it, right? So let's see if we did this, what would happen. Lydia, what's your second name?
Opio.
So now we've made a new variable and we've said it's equals to Opio, and we run it, and now we get Opio, right? Because we've said name is equals to Lydia and then print name. So variables can just put a bit of a note here. Variables can hold values. They can hold operations. And they can hold other variables. So we've seen this one, right? We've seen it holding values, all of these, right? We've seen even this one. We've seen it holding operations. No, we haven't. Let me put this.
Can I just ask something there? Ask something.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, that age, I didn't see, that age you did not, I've not seen you putting the quotes there, but it has picked it.
Very good, very good. And actually, Lydia, you've opened up our next topic, which is, after this one, you've opened up our next topic, which is data types. So I'm even going to put a note. So let me leave this now, but that is a brilliant question, and it's actually opening up our next topic. Fine, so we've seen it holding a value, we've seen it holding an operation, 2022 minus 1995. The year right now is 2022. I was born in 1995. When I print age, I get 27, right? And then we've seen it holding other variables. For example, name is equals to Lydia, and that's here. Name is equals to Lydia, and that works perfectly. Okay? Sawa. So that's about variables. I'll leave it at that for now. Very quickly, the rules of variable names. I'll just rush through these. They cannot share names, otherwise they'll be overwritten, right? So name is equals to emo. If it shares a name, it will overwrite. If you're doing that purposely, it's fine. But if you do it by mistake, you will overwrite your data. They cannot contain, let me put this capitally, in capitals, certain symbols. And finally, they cannot contain, they cannot be keywords. Okay, guys, I'd like someone to guess. So far, I haven't defined this, but I just want you to guess. The final rule of variable names is they cannot be keywords. A variable cannot be a keyword, right? In this code of mine, this particular cell, there's only one keyword, and I'd like anyone to guess what that keyword is.
Guess it's print.
Who said that?
Kevin.
Sorry?
Sleep.
Well done. You're absolutely correct. Print is the keyword. So they cannot be keywords, e.g. print. Others include class, def, int, and so on and so forth. Why can't they be keywords? Because the keywords, like print, already have their work, alright? They have their purpose in Python, so you cannot then go and use them for variables. Is that understood?
So are those, may I ask a question there?
Yes, go ahead.
So does it mean that those keywords are like commands?
That's actually pretty good. Yes, the keywords are like commands. They have certain functions, which I will teach you as we go along. Okay,
Mr. Mganda.
Yes.
Maybe if you elaborate kindly on the keywords.
Okay.
It's a specific language maybe that a computer understands or something, because maybe if you are saying they're already defined, then it means that we have specific words that you cannot use that has already been defined in the computer.
That's exactly it, Vincent.
Yes?
That's precisely it. You've defined it exactly. Well done.
Pardon again?
What you just said was precisely correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, does it mean that just like what he has said, does it mean that there are certain commands or words in Python or Collab or in Python, because we are doing Python, that that are commands. So do we need to know these words?
Yes, you do need to know them, and as we go along, I will teach them to you.
Thank
So
you.
far, I've only taught you one. I've only taught you one, and the one that I've taught you is print. So as both of you, as both Vincent and Lydia just said, they have certain functions within Python. So somebody else, not Vincent, not Lydia, what is the function of print? Just go ahead and unmute.
To display.
To display, somebody complete your thought, please. You're doing well.
To display what has been or what has been commanded. For example, if you say the print Lydia, it displays Lydia on the screen.
Very good. To display is an excellent word to use. The word that you might actually find if you're researching this is to output some data, right? But thank you for that definition, is quite correct. So here I say print age and I get this output, 27. Understood?
Can you as well say that it is the specified message on the screen, maybe, or to the screen?
Yes, you could, definitely.
So does that mean that the output 27 is the display?
Is the 27 is the output. You don't have to use both words. You can go with display, you can go with output. So 27 is the output. We said print age. Here's age. Age is equals to 2022 minus 1995, right? That's age. And then the output is 27. Once you say print age, you get the output of 27. Understood?
Yeah.
Good. So these are our rules of variable names. I don't want to go over them too much. This is the one that I wanted you to understand. They cannot contain certain symbols. So if I say certain symbols, that means that there are symbols that are allowed, right? I'll just show you an example of that. Day of birth. So this symbol is allowed, right? Day of birth. It's used if you have a very long variable name, you can break it up just for the sake of reading easily. So the underscore is allowed, but that's the one exception. That's why I say they cannot contain certain symbols. So for example, a variable like, it wouldn't work. You can't put that symbol there, right? And it's the exact same reason as the keywords, because this has its purpose. What's the purpose of this symbol?
Can't see it well, maybe you could zoom it. I can't see it well, please.
What's the purpose of this symbol that I've highlighted?
It's an addition, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
it's
for
an
adding.
addition.
Right, exactly. So you can't put certain symbols. Those symbols have their job. Okay, fine, that's it. Let's leave it at that. You guys can go ahead and do more research if you'd like to. And now,
So, could
yes.
you please, can you tell us that, can you elaborate on they cannot share names? So, because
Okay.
that's at least what.
Fine, so they can't share names. Now, Python is a bit of a permissive language, right? Here I've written name is equals to Imo, and then I've written name is equals to Lydia. So it almost looks like these two variables are sharing a name, right? But what happens is if I came and I printed name, it would give me the last one. It would give me Lydia, right? It's giving me what this holds. In fact, just for the sake of not confusing, let's put this back as, and then I'll get rid of that. So if I write name is equals to Imo and name is equals to Lydia and I run it, yes, it's running and it's running fine. But then what's happened? I've lost this data, haven't I? I've lost Imo, right? So the thing about that is it's fine if you're doing it purposefully. If you actually want to reassign this name, if you want to take out your T and put milk, right? That's fine. But if you're doing it as a mistake, if for example you had a program and it was supposed to have all the people in the class, and so on and so forth. If this is actually what you're trying to do, you're trying to list everyone in the class, then what have you done? You've just lost all this data. And if you run it, you'll get what? Steve. So you can't share the names. You have to make them different. For example, like that, and then finally you can have your emo. Okay? So that's just the...
Wait a minute. After you have put the different this is what you are saying, that they can't share. That's the rule. Let me go to that rule. What did you say that rule was? They can't share names.
Yes.
So now up here, you are listing all the names of the participants in this class: Imo, Lydia, Daniela, Steve, etc.
Yes.
So when you said print name, it printed Steve. It picked one name. It printed Imo.
It printed Imo. Why has it printed Imo, Lydia? Before it
I don't understand
Steve,
why.
Before it printed Steve, right? Before it printed Steve. So name is Imo, name is Lydia, name is Daniela, name is Steve. And then print name, I get Steve, right? Can you tell me why it's Steve in this case? Anyone can help?
I think because Steve was the last one.
Exactly, because Steve is the last one, right? That's exactly right. Oh dear, there's quite a bit of echo on your thing, but thank you for that correct answer. Go ahead and mute. You're correct, whoever that was. I didn't see. But then I changed it. I changed my variable names. So name is equals to Imo, name 2 is equals to Lydia, name 3 Daniela, name 4 Steve, and now when I run it, I get Imo. Does that make sense why it's Imo now? Because there's only one variable called
Imo.
No, called
Name.
Exactly, called name. The other one is name 2, the other one is name 3, the other one is name 4. Is that understood by everyone?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, fine. So that's it about variables, and that's it about the variable rules. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, somebody unmuted. I don't have the screen of the class, so I can't see your name. Is there a question? Okay, fine. Moving on, data types. So we've done this. We've done that, and everybody understood, which means for now we're done with variables. Although I'll tell you now, you will never be done with variables. Variables will always be there. Yeah, 90% of what you do in programming, you'll do it with a variable. You'll store your data somewhere. But we've defined it, and we've talked about the rules, so that's enough for now. Let's now talk about data types. So Lydia asked a fantastic question. Why no quotes on age? First of all, let's use this one as an example. I'll just copy it. Year is equals to age, print here. And it worked. So why no quotes on age and then it worked? I could put quotes. If I put quotes, it would work the exact same. But the reason I didn't have quotes the first time is because age, or rather 1995, it's actually a year. Somebody is unmuted. Let's find out who. Vincent, I think it's you. Vincent, once again, please mute. Thank you. Right, so year is equals to 1995, right? We don't put quotes. Why? Because year is a number. So Lydia, there's the answer to your question. I didn't put quotes on age, and right now I haven't put quotes on year because year is a number. But let's go deeper into that, yeah, and let's actually discuss data types. Data types is exactly what it sounds like. The data that we are using here, it falls into certain types, yeah. There are different types of data. What kind of data is this? This is text, although we'll define that a bit more later. This is a number, right? So let's discuss the different categories, all the different data types. So this is more of a general. This is more of a general definition. It's not just for Python. I'm actually trying to give you the whole programming view of it. So the first category that I'll talk about for data types is text. And the first data type within that category is what's known as string. Okay? So if you ever hear the word string in programming, just think of anything within quotes, single quotes or double quotes. If you find it within single quotes or double quotes, it's a string. And what kind of data do we save in string? I'll give an example and then you can give me more. Name would be a string, right? Okay, let's have at least 5. Give me another example. Anything that would be, that's any type of data that would be a string. And here's your clue. If it falls under the category of text, if it's something that would be classed as text, as words, let's put it that way, it's a string. So what else can you have? In fact, I'll give you 2 examples. Name and school are both string, would both fall under string data type. Let's have some examples.
Lydia.
Well, okay, yes, Lydia, but we're talking about categories now. Let's go with categories. So Lydia would be under which one? The person who spoke would be under this, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But you are correct. You are correct. Lydia, as it's typed like that, that is a string. Okay, give me something else. What would you save under, what would you store rather under a string, in a string?
Nationality.
Thank you. Nationality. That's 1. Give me another. I want 5 from the class.
Food.
Sorry?
Food.
I didn't quite catch that.
Food. Like food.
Food. Thank you. Yes, food. Yes.
Marital status.
Marital status is a very interesting one. Who said that?
Joseph.
I'm gonna put a star on this because we can come back to it for an example later. Thank you, Joseph. Another?
Race.
Race. Yes. Yeah. One more. Are there any more? Okay, let's leave it at that. That's good. So, I think somebody wanted to contribute. Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, good. So these are excellent examples, and these would all be strings. So, for example, school. School could be, right? Food. Whoever gave me that example of food, what could we put here? Right? Race. And so on and so forth. So if it's words, if your data is a word, that's a very simplistic way of putting it, but it's correct. If your data is a word and if you put it within quotes, it's a string. But also if you do this, this is also a string, although intellectually we know that 27 should be a number, right? But the rule is, if it's within quotes, it's a string. Okay? So let's actually remove this because now we can talk about numbers. Before I talk about numbers, are there any questions from what I've just defined up here?
Yes. So just on the last one, it means that that a numerical data,
yes,
can still fall under text if I put the quotes.
Yes, it does. Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. So numeric numbers. any numbers. And immediately we go into examples. So once again, I will put the first two, and you guys can continue from there. So I'm gonna say age, and I'm going to say price. Let's have some more examples. Any number.
Year of birth. Year of birth.
Sorry?
Year of birth.
Thank you. I'll just put it as YOB. Aha, another. I just now want 3 for this one.
Date.
Yes?
Muganda,
Yes.
year of birth, why don't you put it the same way you have put marital status, because you are putting some this character down here. Year underscore of underscore birth.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. It's fine. Like that? Like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's totally up to you. Your variables are up to you. You can make them however you like. YOB, year of birth, the way we just put it, like so. It's totally up to you. One more.
ID number.
ID, thank you. Yes, ID. ID number. They're all numeric. So numeric fall under there's different kinds of numeric. The first one is integer or int, and these are whole numbers, and then I'll just put EG for now. And then float, and these are decimals. So within these examples, let's put them into these two categories, right? So age, is it a whole number or is it a float? Sorry, is it a decimal?
It can be both.
Well done.
It's a
That is
whole
brilliant.
number.
Whoever said that
It
just
can be
now
both.
that's a
It's
brilliant
me.
answer.
It can be both. Yeah.
Age can be both, right? Because your age, like my age is 27, and that's a whole number, right? But I could be 27.5, I could be 27.5, which is the same as 27 and 6 months, right? So age can be both. Price, int or float. Guys, which of these would this fall under?
Price can also be both.
It can be both, but for this one, let's go with float, right? Just for the sake of having it in a category. Because price, and in fact, let me make this age is equals to 27. What's the price of fuel right now? How much is a liter of petrol?
159.
159, but it's not just 159, right? It's 159 point something. I think they're taking even 10 cents from us. Hawataki tukule hata hiyo 10 cents. Right? So 159.10. So as you can see, it's a decimal. Okay? What else? Year of birth. Which one does it fall under?
Int.
Very good, thank you. Year of birth is an integer, because we count our years as whole numbers, right? And then finally, ID number. ID number, would that be a float? Do we have 0.5 of a person?
No, it goes to integer.
Exactly, ID number. So if your data is going to be whole, then it's an int, right? You can't have half a person. You can't have half a computer. You can't have half of a building, right? It would be 5 buildings, 3 people, a certain year of birth. But floats, you can have age, you can have 27.5 as your age, you can have price 159.10 as is the 159 and 10 cents as the price of something. You can have weight, right?
Yeah, height, kgs.
Exactly, height.
Yeah, yeah.
Well done, height. So you can have your weight as whatever it is. You can have your height is equals to 170 centimeters point 34, right? Let's have 2 more, just 2 more things in the real world that you could measure with decimals.
Kgs.
Okay, that's weight.
Oh, you wanted integers?
No, I do want. I want anything that you would measure as a decimal, but kgs, I believe that's what we say. Kgs would fall under weight. So something else, something new. Distance. Well done. Distance. Somebody said.
Temperature.
Temperature. Exactly.
Temperature.
Precisely. Both of these things you can measure them precise enough that they would be in decimals. Well done. Okay, good. So that's about data types. So, yeah, data types. Now let's go back here. There is one more. There's one more a special category of data types, and it's called Boolean.
It's called what? Sorry?
Boolean. But even before I go to that, let me just type something down here. Good. So Boolean, this is a special kind of data type, and it is special because it only has 2 possible values, right? Numbers never end, correct? Foods, we have so many foods. Races, we have all the races of the world. Schools, there are thousands of schools in Kenya alone. There are hundreds of thousands probably all over the world. So there are many values for these data types, if you're to make variables for these data types. But for Boolean, there's only 2 different data types, and that is true, and then the other one is obviously what?
False.
Exactly, false. So for Boolean you can only have true or false. So the data that is held in here So let's print out a few of the things that we've written just for the sake of having them down. Let's print out yeah, that's enough. Just to see what we've been doing. Okay, these are all the values that we've been working with, and now we're done with them. We're now at Boolean. So Boolean can only be true or false, and it's data that can only be in one of 2 states. And now that's the question I have for you guys. In the real world, forget code, forget Python, but in the real world, what things occur in only one of 2 states? That's my question, and I want everyone to give this a try. I want as many ideas as we have. I'm going to type as fast as I can and get them all down. So, to get your mind jogging, I'll give you a few ideas, right? Dead or what?
Alive.
Very good. And you can only be one or the other, isn't that right, Lydia?
Yeah.
Although there are some religions that insist that there is a purgatory, right? A sort of middle state, while they're deciding whether you should go upstairs or downstairs. But for us,
Well, but we don't know. We don't know whether you're there, but we just know it's dead or alive.
very good. Exactly the point I was about to make. For us, we just know that you're dead or you're alive. Okay, good. Let's have as many of them. Guys can just unmute and give them to me.
Male or female?
Very
Gender.
good. Male or female. Although there are some who will argue that point nowadays, but for us as programmers, we can say it's one or the other. Thank you. Another?
Day or night?
Yes or no?
Thank you. Day or night. And this one is quite interesting, right? Who said that?
Vincent.
Vincent. At what time in Kenya does day start?
At midnight.
Well, okay. What time does the sun rise? I should have said.
It's 6 to 6.
6, right?
6
So,
to 6
at
p.m.
least in our country, we have a very clear defining line of when the day starts and the night starts. But in other countries, especially Maju, you might have trouble with that, right? Some places you can find 4 o'clock, it's already dark, right? So this one might be a bit questionable, but for us, we can say day or night is one state or the other. Thank you, Vincent. That's a good one, and it has a bit of discussion in it. Give me more.
It's either you're right or wrong.
Right or wrong? Again, very debatable. Yeah, when you're arguing with your boss, when you're arguing with your children, when you're arguing with your wife or husband, and you are always of the opinion that you're right and I'm wrong. I'm right and you're wrong. Yeah, but once again, for us, we can just decide it's one way or the other. Thank you. That's a good example. Let's have 2 more at least.
Black or white?
Okay, sure. Black or white. One more.
Happy or sad?
Happy or sad. So, thank you. These are all very good ideas. So, happy or sad, dead or alive, male or female, all of them fall into one of these categories. Rather, you can either be one or you can be the other. There's no middle ground, right? Although, again, for something like this, it's debatable, right? Here's another one. Rich or poor? Is it one or the other, or is it something that you can debate?
It is debatable now with the hustlers.
Exactly, right? If I go into the streets and I found a street urchin, I found somebody who hadn't had anything to eat for that day, and I gave him 1,000 shillings, what would he say he was?
Rich.
He was rich, right? But if I went to William Ruto right now and I took all his money and I left him with just 1,000 shillings, or even 1,000,000 shillings, if I took all of Ruto's money and I gave him just 1,000,000 shillings, what would he call himself?
Poor.
Poor, exactly. So this one is debatable. Rich or poor does not neatly fall into one of these, right? How about this one?
Yes or no?
Well, yes, let me put that up here. Thank you. Who was that?
Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria. Yes or no? You ask a question, you get one of those answers. Okay, so I was about to say, it slipped out of my mind. Let me see if it will come. Yes, here we go. Tall or short? It's debatable, right?
Yeah.
Right, because in this country, we aren't that tall, at least compared to the world. We are rather average. So if you're 5'10" in this country, you're doing well. But take somebody who's 5'10" to Sweden, Denmark, one of those, Finland, and you'll be looking up at the entire population. Everybody will be looking down on you, right? Take the same 5'10" person to China, where the average height is, I believe, 5'7", and you're a giant all of a sudden, right? So you must always ask yourself the question before you use Boolean. Is it something that neatly falls into one of the categories, or can it be debated? Is that understood?
What about single arrow?
Yeah, exactly.
So in this case, Muganda,
Yeah.
does it mean it has to be something that is not debatable?
Well, that's up to you. As a programmer, that's up to you. As a programmer, you can decide that there are certain conditions that will make you make it day or night, right, Lydia? For example, as programmers in Kenya, we can decide if it's 6 o'clock, if it's 6 p.m., it's what?
Night.
Night, exactly. You can decide, you and I, we can decide that as the programmer. And then in that case, it neatly falls into this. It neatly falls into true or false. Why, Lydia? Because if it's 6:01, automatically it's night. If it's 6:01 p.m., if it's 4:55 in the afternoon, automatically we say it's day. So in that case, it falls neatly into the category. It's up to you as the developer to decide, depending on what you're building. All right? And that's something we will see going forward as we learn more. We will see how that actually works. Okay. Any other question? Fine. So I'll just print two of them. Print true. Print false. Really, it's just going to give back exactly what I've written. Print true, print false, it just gives you that, right? Let me show you something interesting though. If I print that, if I do that, whoops. Okay, this it doesn't work in Python. There we go. Okay, see what I've done? I've put not, and now they've switched. But anyway, let's not get into that right now. That's something that I'll teach moving forward.
No, but it's just something to note. When you wrote it like that and you said print, it didn't give us an error like the other ones. How come it didn't give us the other one?
Which tells you that not is what, Lydia? Not is
a keyword.
Yeah, exactly. Not is a keyword. So print not true. If I say something, Lydia, if I said something is not true, that means it's?
If it's not true, then it's false.
Exactly. So I said print not true and it's given me false. If I say something is not false, I say this class has been a waste of time. That is not false.
Then
that means it's true, right?
Yeah.
Although I would like to think that this class was not a waste of time. I would like to think that people learned something, right? I hope so. Anyway, let me remove these. I'll remove these. I'll run it. Just take note of what happens down here. I run it and now they've switched back. Okay? Okay, let's come back to this list of ours. Categories, we discussed them. Types, we've discussed them. That means data types. We're done with that. Is there any question about data types at all? Anything you...
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, there was something that you wrote to us in the assignment. I saw you writing. I don't know, it disappeared. This one.
Yeah, I'll give this to you. I'm going to give you this this notebook. I'm going to give this entire notebook so that you can see what the assignment is. You can go and read it for yourselves, and then you can give me these answers when we next meet. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay, good. Fine. So, guys, is there any question about anything we've covered?
I don't think, no.
Okay, good. Fine. So, if at this point, my friends, you know what a comment is, you understand what syntax is, and you realize that it's rules. If you can tell me what a variable is, and you understand that it's just a container, but not the data itself. It's the container, but not the data. It's the cup, but not the tea. It's the cup, but not the porridge. If you've understood that, if you know the rules of making a variable, if you know that you're not supposed to start with a number, if you realize that data types fall into two categories, text and numbers, essentially, with a special one for Boolean, which is just true or false. If you understand all of that, then we have been successful this evening. Do we understand all of that, my friends?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it as we are here together, because otherwise it might fall by the wayside. I'm going to come here. Oh, no. I'm going to click upload file. Let's come to code mentor. And I'm going to give you guys, no, let's give it a name. Let's give this a name. Let's click this and call it. Today's date is 20/06/22. So I'll come here and I'll give you this. It's uploaded. And I'll post that. So guys, go ahead and open that code, and right at the bottom you have a simple assignment. You can Google it, right? You can just go into Google and find the answer. Under the category of text, we also have something called car. This is not in Python. This is just a programming concept that I'd like you to understand. Under numeric, we have something called long. I'd like us to discuss it very quickly. When we open the next session, I'll just ask, can somebody tell me about this? And you give me the answer. All right? If you're not using Jupyter Notebook, please do not worry. You can simply download this onto your computer, come to Collab, click this, upload, and then just upload that same file. Once you've downloaded it onto your computer, just upload it. And there's all your code. Simple as that. All right? Okay, now I'm going to click